To set the scene of where I am at the start of this video, I'm in Cedar Mesa Campground, which is in Capitol Reef National Park and basically in the middle of nowhere. I've been doing a reflection each night, and to better convey how I was feeling this moment, I'm going to play some audio from that day.
You know, I woke up at 5 and I was like, I probably would have gone back to bed had I not heard the sound of rain. Now, normally I'm sleeping, camping, whatever, I hear rain, I'm like, oh, rain, nice, I don't know. I like a little bit of noise when I'm sleeping. And then I was like, oh wait, rain. I was like, oh shit, are the washes, like the little ditches that I have to drive back out through? I hit one of them pretty bad on the way in. So I was wondering, oh shit, are they gonna be worse? And I was like, nah, I'll probably be fine. You know, it's just like a drizzle, it doesn't seem like it's pouring right now, it's just a little bit. If anything, they'd probably get wider instead of like deeper. Then I was like, oh shit, mud. Because the road I went into the campsite on is the same road I got stuck in, but I got stuck in a place that was like after the campsite. Most of the road was like kind of like a packed dirt. There's a couple spots that are kind of sketchy, like right near the campground. There's also like gray out, like, I don't know, the sun was not rising. I waited until like for a couple hours and I was like, I just gotta go. I almost got stuck, like the car was like, you know, I was like spinning out, and I was like, shit, you know, shit. I'm panicking, and I'm just like, okay, I'm getting a little bit of motion here. I'm just gonna go, and then thankfully, because it's also on like kind of a hill too, I was able to go forward just enough to where I could keep driving down the rest of the road and didn't have any problems after that. Because I'm like, I don't know how many, like at least 20 miles into a road that has like no whatever. I would have to wait until someone, hopefully by chance, drive by me and hope they'd be able to help like push me out if I gotten stuck there, and I wouldn't have to wait another however long for them to go out, call a tow truck, and then, or not a tow truck, but maybe some kind of vehicle to pull me out. Really glad I didn't get stuck there, because like who knows how long I've been, because near where it connects with the highway, I passed by one person, and who knows if they're even going that far in. So yep, I probably would have, you know, would have taken a day. Probably would have been ideal though.
So yeah, after I had a panic attack, you know, I had driven through the town of Noton, which I had never heard of before because it's not on the census. And you know, I was like, oh, this is the last time I'll be driving through it. Because I always saw these like concrete slabs here, right? And I looked at them and I was like, what's on these, you know? And it was like it was a bunch of veterans. And, you know, I was like, oh, I guess that makes sense, you know, the little history of the town. But turns out this town has a song. This town, in the middle of nowhere, Utah, that is barely a town. I saw like 2 houses in this entire area that are like ranch houses, but I guess that's the town of Noton. They have a song. I don't know how to read sheet music and sing it. I would be really curious to hear what this sounds like. And also, they have one of the coolest names of a road in this street, Desert Grave Road. This morning, I bid Capitol Reef adieu. Today I was off to Great Basin National Park in Nevada, but before I went on and saw that, I had to drive through Utah. But I was planning on taking a little detour up to a being called Pando, the Trembling Giant. Ah, you see those ominous foreboding clouds? That's where we're going today. First I stopped for gas at the cheapest place in maybe all of Utah, at least that I saw. And this gas station's in the town of Loa, which compared to the surrounding areas, there's quite a bit going on. They've got the Family Dollar. Another thing about driving through like these tiny little rural towns, most of the town will just be kind of run down, these old decrepit buildings. It's like, oh, does anyone even still live in these? And then like a big new buildings where you can see where the property line ends. Yeah, why not live in the middle of nowhere if the land's cheap and you can live in a big house? Yeah, I was planning on taking a little bit of a scenic, kind of long detour route to see Pando, where I would take a detour along a different state highway for a town called Fremont, and then take a little county road where I'd eventually connect back with the highway, seeing Pando along the way. Pass through the town of Fremont. This is one of the best parts about traveling alone, is if I see some dumb thing that I find really funny and want to get a better camera angle of, I can just do that. I can just turn around. So that's what I did to see the Worms Fridge. What if we kissed in front of the Worms Fridge? I'm sure there's other travel vlogs you could find of people going to Capitol Reef and Great Basin, but this is what you come here for, the Worms Fridge. Never forget that. Anyways, I passed by a warning sign on the highway that said, lights flashing when heavy snowfall, snowdrifts may block the road. And I was like, says maybe. I like those odds. And I didn't find any snowdrifts on that road. And so I turned off on this other road, looked over this reservoir. It's like, this is a little bit less scenic than what I've been used to. And it was a lot colder too. Kept driving up this little county road and it's closed. Guess what magical line it's closed on? That's right, the county line. So one county was like, yeah, we'll plow this road. And the other one was like, nah. So then I went all the way back. But hey, at least I get to pass by the Worms fridge again. Now this would have been the quickest way to see Pando anyways, taking this short little road up. And, I drove up, and it's getting higher elevation. I'm like, damn, there's a lot of snow. Some of it was, like, taller than my car at one point. Granted, not that hard of a feat, but still quite a bit of snow. There's quite a bit of aspens. I was like, oh, where's Pando? I really hope there'll be some indication of when I reach it. And there was a little sign that was like, yeah, you are now entering Pando. And then...
That's the sign I'm looking for. Also that, whatever, but... Look at holy shit, dude. Oh. What?
This is not edited. This is the actual time you spend in Pando. Now, when you think about the fact that Pando is considered to be the largest organism on the planet by mass, debatedly, there's some debate out there, but Pando's one of the largest, right? And the fact that I was just like, I guess that was it. I kind of hoped there'd be like a little pull-off or something, so then I kind of kept driving until I saw a good place to turn around, and then went back to get my photo. To take another selfie, one of the rare times I do that. Now, I don't often think about what I'm gonna wear for today, but you know what I had to wear this day? That's right. This photo is semi-cool. If you know what's going on, just kind of a random photo if you have no idea. I think it's neat. Anyways, then I went on over to Great Basin. Drove through the scrubland of Middle Utah. Yeah. This area has a lot more just like hills. Also, it was raining a lot this day. Like a lot. I would be passing through the biggest place I had seen since Salt Lake City. That's Richfield, Utah. I also got stuck behind this trailer. That's not that important. Here's some of the things I saw. Granted, this is not the full list, just some of the things I got on video. A Texas flag. A school bus in front of someone's front yard. I also saw one in Fremont. Some fear-mongering. I don't know what this means. Well, those are some things. That's about all I was able to get on my phone. After getting on the I-70 and then merging with the I-15, my next junction would involve getting off in Beaver. I'm sure there's a joke to be made somewhere there. And then from Beaver I went to Milford, and then from Milford to Great Basin. You might think Utah is kind of an empty state outside of the Salt Lake area. You'd be right. You have not seen empty until you have driven from Utah to Nevada, or, other way around. But holy hell, I saw 3 cars in the stretch from Milford to Garrison, which takes just over an hour to drive. I was also messing around for another thumbnail moment. I also saw the forbidden picnic table. Like, why are there guardrails around this? I've never seen anything like this before. And it's good to know that even in the middle of nowhere, there's still just trash on the ground. And then I drove through this long valley, which was really cool because you could see like the entire valley from up here. And there was no cars along this road at all when it was just me out there. Average rural roadblock. Then I got on the other side of these mountains, and then there's just this great flatness. And as I drove, like, every time I saw a mountain chain, I kept thinking, oh, is that Great Basin? Oh, is that Great Basin? I'm like, nah, I'm still too far away. Not a lot of distance signs out here. I was kind of losing track of where I was. But then after a while, I approached Garrison, which place I'd never heard of, again, not on the census. That's how I hear of places usually, as if I'm just reading the census data. Also, it's raining the entire time. It was pretty heavy near Richfield, but then it's just like, still raining. I'm like, dang. And then I cross over into Nevada. Of course, as a GeoGuessr nerd, the first thing I noticed is the fact that the bollards are now different. That's what's important here. And then I was like, oh, that's gotta be Great Basin. Once again, I was wrong. And then I was like, oh, wait. I have to take a left turn here? Oh, that's Great Basin. Also, Baker? This little town in Nevada I passed through, saddest gateway town to a national park I've ever seen. Great Basin apparently is in the bottom 5, top 5, least visited national parks in the contiguous US, so there's that. And as I approached Great Basin, I was like, it's kind of disappointing, can't really see it because of the clouds, but they're starting to part, but it's still kind of a cool look, And then I get up there, and then I had known that some roads would be closed off to snow, because, it's mountainous, snow happens, they shut off roads. There was like no roads open at all. There's only like one road that was half open where the campsite was and where I would be. I was like, well, I do not know what to do for the rest of the day. So I drove around a bit, drove to a couple different parking lots. And the clouds did start to part, so I got a nice view of this peak here. That's pretty cool. It was a pretty cool view from the campsite of this mountain here. And then I just was like, all right, I guess I'll just sit here for a bit. Thankfully, I downloaded some podcasts. And then like a couple hours passed, I could kind of like see some colors in the sky. I was like, ooh, is there gonna be like can I just get to a point where I could see a cool sunset? Not really, but once you know it, there's some birds. I did see a flock of wild turkeys, including a white one, so that was neat. And then I saw the turkeys fly. I've never seen turkeys fly quite like this before. I mean, I know they could. I've seen their footsteps on my roof, but quite majestic. And then I saw a fox. I wasn't able to get it on video because, you know, it was quite quick. It's almost like they're known for that or something. Here's my thoughts for that night.
Yo. Okay, so I woke up today at 5 a.m. and it's now 4:02 Pacific time, right? So it's 5 p.m. And I guess I usually do kind of go for about 12 hours, but since it's like 5 p.m., it feels weird, or /4/whatever. In Nevada now. Ooh. Unfortunately, I overestimated the amount of stuff they'd be able to do in Great Basin, so turns out like most of the roads are closed. Don't know what I'm gonna do now. Tomorrow. I have a cave tour planned, but that's about it. Yeah, so after that, I just drove. I was like, oh shit, dude. That was stressful. It was very stressful, actually. The most stressful drive I've ever done, maybe. Because that road meets one of the Capitol Reef signs is. I stopped in that little roundabout to like actually kind of sort myself out a bit. And then in that roundabout, they had bathrooms, and I was like, yeah. And they're gender-neutral bathrooms. But it's just like, how unexpected of Utah, and then they're just the shitholes, you know what I mean? It's just like a hole to shit in, basically, and that's it. There's two of them, and now that begs the question, both said gender neutral now, but in the past, was there a men's and a women's shithole? Like the concept of a gendered bathroom is already kind of arbitrary, but it's just a hole with a seat above it. Driving early morning is pretty nice because it's like, the roads are usually pretty empty, and you can see things. So like late night driving, roads are empty. You can't see that much. But I saw the worm fridge. Driving through like tiny towns. Richville's not even that small compared to like a lot of the stuff I've seen today. I mean, it's literally the biggest place I've driven through today. But like small towns, I feel like you just see so much weird kind of out of pocket stuff when passing through, and I love it. Like I saw like flowers inside toilet bowls just in front of someone's house. I didn't get the collapsed hotel or the President's Day sale. It has been a month since President's Day almost, which is pretty funny. We're gonna wrap up. There's some gnarly looking trees here though. So yeah, hopefully tomorrow the cave tour is exciting enough where I don't regret having made this long trip out to Great Basin.
Also, you ever have a nightmare that happens in the place you're sleeping in? Terrifying. I had a nightmare someone opened my car door while I was sleeping in here. I hate it. I had like that dream slowness on me. Worst thing I've ever had.
Now this trip, I had been thinking, since I didn't have any solid days planned, I was like, I'm gonna make it go all the way to Saturday, but I'm probably gonna go home on Friday, you know? And then I woke up that day and I was like, well, I have a cave tour scheduled at 2. I guess I'm just gonna dick around until then. Also in the morning, it was quite nice. Like, the clouds had parted and you could see like this peak in all its glory. I'm not sure if it was Wheeler Peak, which is like the main peak of Great Basin NP. Man, it looked majestic. Let me tell you, it felt good to be out of the rain. Read every piece of information in the visitor center, then I'll go on my cave tour. And I was like, it doesn't get out till 2:30, and that's Pacific time, but I live in Mountain Time, so I won't get home till late. Kind of a late start to a day, but I'm going for it. That's right. After the cave tour, I drove all the way home in one go. Starting at 2 p.m. Pacific, and then immediately crossing into Mountain Time. But before I did that, I gotta talk about my cave tour in the Lehman Caves. What I'll remember from Lehman Caves was like just the intricacies of all like the little formations in there, right? Also, apparently back in the day, people, came all the way out to Nevada they'd be like, well, I came and saw these caves, better just take some of it home with me, so that's why a lot of them are broken off. But yeah, there's all these little intricate details and like the way the stone formed, quite a bit more than most caverns I've been to. Apparently Lehman Cave is also known for these massive shield formations made of limestone, which are apparently much more rare than like the stalactites and mites and whatever. I also saw one of the iconic formations, the parachute shield. Pretty cool. They also had this room called the Cypress Swamp, which apparently is normally not filled with water, but, you know, heavy snowfall here. Pretty much only happens during the snowmelt season, and apparently hasn't happened for like 10 years, so that was a pretty cool experience to see. But having spent a lot of time in flooded caves in Mexico this summer, I was like, oh yeah, flooded cave. What do you want? Apparently because, you know, the park would get higher ratings if visitors saw the flooded caverns, Park Service used to, like, just put some water in there. Sure, that won't cause anything wrong. There's also a room called the Inscription Room, because they used to crawl through this little hole back in the day, and then write their names with, like, the fumes of their candle or whatever, I don't remember. Yep, it's just there. It's pretty much only in that one room, too. Lehman Cave's a pretty cool cave tour. I would recommend seeing it. Then it was time to head back home. It had been a long journey. Kind of a short journey, but long in terms of distance. I overlooked the valley one last time before heading on. I've got one last story for you about traveling through the desert by myself. So the music stops playing. I'm like, huh, that's weird. I've got a phone call. Some number from Florida, spam call, whatever. They call back. I'm like, okay. That's not normal of a spam caller. I don't accept the call. This happens again. And in my head I'm thinking, okay, I should just block this number if they're gonna keep calling me, right? Or maybe I should answer, because I'm kind of curious to see what they're gonna say, because I don't think it's a spam caller anymore. Or, I see how many times in a row they will decide to call me. Guess how many times they called. They called 9 times in a row before finally deciding to text me, and this was the text I got. You have a court date, go to it so my phone stops getting spam called. I say, you have the wrong person. Benenet? Not my name. I thought that would be the end of it. They just kept texting me about like, well, you should probably do this and that. I'm like, this is your problem, not mine. Goodbye. I'm driving through the desert with no cell service. One last desert drive by myself to round it off.
And one of the last stretches of this journey would be on the US 50, which, from Fernley, Nevada to Delta, Utah, is considered the loneliest road in America. Even though the other highway I drove on to get here, it was lonelier.
And you can see the sky with no clouds. Some more school buses and yards. Probably should change it just like in front of private property or something, because not all these are like yards. I did miss one when driving past, but I got it in the rearview mirror. Once again, I look out over the amazing Wasatch. On the way north of the Salt Lake City area, there was another traffic jam. In terms of driving through the Salt Lake Metro, 3 out of 4 times driving by myself I've encountered a traffic jam. So that's how it ends. A traffic jam. And now, the final reflection. I was gonna do this one on my phone, but then I was too tired that night because I arrived home at like 2 a.m. or something, and then I didn't want to do it. So I'm doing it now. That was a long day. I'm glad I saw the caverns. I honestly don't know what to add here, except the fact that, it's good to travel by yourself at least once, I think. I feel like I become a different machine when I'm driving. My biological needs disappear, and then I realize I'm probably very dehydrated. But you know, when you're traveling by yourself, you don't interact with as many people. You know, there's not as many people give you happiness, but, you know, there's not as many people to give you no pain. My skin didn't begin to turn red. It was cloudy almost the entire time. I don't know how to tie some of these lyrics in, I'm not gonna lie. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you liked the video. Subscribe.
So yeah, watch part 1 if you haven't.
Watch another Goshen Man video. Got quite a few at this point, so hope you enjoyed it. And I think the next one I'm gonna make is gonna be a remastering of an older video I did, so stay tuned for that. Also go follow the other Ocean Man social medias in the description. Okay, bye. Probably 2 people watch this all the way through, but if you're here, hell yeah.